The War Within formula is closely following the Dragonflight formula, so what's changed and has it gotten any better? Hey, it's Soul and this is Warcraft Weekly. News highlights just like slathered in copium. It's weightless, by the way, and it's colorless and it's very irrational. You can help support the channel by liking this video, subscribing for more WoW coverage, and of course catch me live where I'm streaming. Next week, patch 11.0.5 and the 20th anniversary patch goes live, and here's what we can expect. Lots of downtime. It hasn't been posted yet, but we're likely to see an announcement that North American realms will be down until 3 p.m. Pacific, barring delays, and you probably don't want to time your vacation for it or anything. However, Tuesday morning, there's a Twitch drop promotion for a Scarab Pet, another former collectible from the old trading card game. It's the usual deal, you gotta watch a participating streamer for 4 hours across a 2-week period to score that pet. I'm gonna be streaming from the very start so you can knock out your watch time quick, even if realms aren't up yet, so be sure to follow me over on Twitch. This coming Monday, I'll have what I hope to be an easy breakdown of what and how to do all the anniversary stuff. Lots of people are looking at it like it's this, I don't know, this overwhelming grind fest, and I hope to present it in a more digestible way. Today, though, I want to have a discussion on how Blizzard is doing WoW these days, because we can more or less compare this current formula to Dragonflight and ask ourselves, is this okay? I'm not a game designer and most of you are glad for it, but if you're interested in what makes games and the internet work, you can get started learning backend development through the sponsor of today's video, boot.dev. Backend developers are in constant demand to make sure the internet supports our day-to-day, so our services and games stay up, and dude, it's good money. The average developer in the US makes over $100,000 a year. Boot.dev teaches you from start to finish in Python and Go programming languages, which are massively in demand. So what is boot.dev? In so few words, it's a teaching tool designed to help you learn how to write code. It presents itself as sort of like a text-based RPG, giving you little quest-like objectives to understand and write code. There's minimal lecturing or blasting through long paragraphs of jargon and simply, hey, this is what the thing does, let's have you demonstrate by writing examples, or even debug and fix code, and you'll be writing a ton of it. Writing code and shipping is really the best way to learn, and it feels like you're accomplishing something. And you earn experience, achievements, there's leaderboards, it's a very gamer-motivated vibe that feels fun. And best of all, it's accessible, it's self-paced, and the teaching builds on previous lessons, or you can jump to where you want to go, like Git or SQL or whatever these are called. The full version features access to all the lessons, more progress tracking, live support via Discord, a 30-day guarantee, and so much more, but like games, you can do a demo. It's free to try. Boot.dev. If you're interested, click the link in the video description and give it a spin for free, and when you're ready, use code SoulSoBreezy to get 25% off your first month or your first year if you choose the yearly plan. Alright, so you've seen enough of me. I'm gonna just tuck myself into the background again and embrace the podcast style like I did last week for, some easy listening. So let's talk. World of Warcraft these days has this very predictable course laid out for it. I'm mostly pointing this out now that we've had a release date for the patch, and we could say that, 8 weeks after the launch of the expansion, ta-da, here we are, looking at a new patch. The event attached to this patch, it goes on until the first full week of January, so that's the 6th, with the 7th being a very convenient Tuesday. I'm spitballing here, but if we assume a few extra weeks with respect to like the Thanksgiving and Christmas, the holiday breaks, a new patch is probably going to drop January 7th, and it's probably going to be 11.0.7. I think that's been seen in encrypted builds recently. WoW has lots of patterns it's been following these days after its build-up over so many years. Because nowadays patches come about 8 weeks apart with exceptions, like I just mentioned. The patch next week, it's going to typically come with another promotional Twitch drop. And at certain times of the year, we get new promotional amounts for people who pay their subscription in bulk, and the trading post, that comes in every month. The time lock-in and dungeon events, those can be measured on the calendar, and it's all made up to be very neat. And it looks like the WoW team is trying to improve on this a little bit. Because I mentioned in an earlier video from just the other day, an important but understated change that's coming in this patch is the soulification. I think that's a word, whatever. The soulification of Shadowlands raids. Now, hopefully it's going to work as I hope, because one fight seems buggy at the moment, but the takeaway I'm getting is this being a very big improvement over Dragonflight in terms of like the scheduling. Because remember, it took like until the end of Dragonflight to make the Battle for Azeroth raids, to make those soloable. So this time, I guess the producers for WoW, they managed to slot this sort of functionality in the War Within's first patch, and that's great news. Of course, people would want this sooner. That's a different argument, but I'm just acknowledging they're following through with their legacy raid philosophy with a lot better consistency this time. Back to the scheduling. So after next week, it's going to be maybe like 19 or so weeks until like 11.1, until we enter a new season of The War Within. So it's going to be like 19 resets worth of raids, which are getting soft nerfed every other week, sorry. We're going to get 19 key rotations and probably a whole bunch of changes to all the pain points from dungeons and the fixes. That's going to put us in March with a likely 11.1 patch with, more story content and, more trading posts and all sorts of other scheduled promotions. And if we look even further ahead, we can probably predict the next expansion, Midnight, to release sometime in May of 2026. Probably after that new Avengers movie, I think. Assuming the same schedule still, The Last Titan, the third expansion of the saga, that'll release maybe February of 2029. And finally, we can start looking forward to the next saga, where we'll go next, and of course, player housing. Just kidding. I feel like it's important to have this sense of predictability, this unconscious expectation. Maybe you can call it faith or whatever, but I also understand that there's like a criticism behind this kind of scheduling too. Like, maybe this is too predictable. It's kind of corporate in its structure, and, gamers are going to get bored. I get that. Because, we're creatures who crave stimulation and that good old dopamine fix. So, yeah, I notice a contradiction. It's not really a contradiction, I just can't find the words, but when we dive into the actual day-to-day or week-to-week in World of Warcraft, for example, many gamers, they really like deterministic rewards they can plan for. They want to know their efforts will eventually pan out. But you know what? They also can't stand it when they know the game is designed in a way that they're being purposefully paced. I'm talking about like time gating and the season caps, that sort of thing. They don't like being controlled. The game should respect their time, that sort of thing. But gamers also don't like feeling left behind, especially when the people who are ahead, they affect their gameplay. And I'm not saying that these are like the same people. It doesn't have to be this mutually exclusive thing. But it's hard to jump into the game and find a group mid-season when everyone's already geared, right? That's why there are catch-ups and there's season caps, mention it again, and there's skips, so players can play with their friends, because after all, the game should respect their time. Notice I'm saying it twice. So I guess I'm trying to point out the WoW formula has become this nebulous web of double-edged swords that's both loved and reviled. Like the internet of today, it equivocates those feelings, or maybe favors the negativity part of it, because historically that just drives engagement better. The internet runs off of advertisements and yada yada yada. But anyway, I do have a point in all my ranting, I promise. I like the formula and the scheduling. For me, it works, right? Just for me. During this season, I didn't have to worry about hardcore rep grinding or forcing myself to do keys to gear up for raids thanks to delves. Like, I have more options to choose from. Now, some gamers look at it like more things to pile on, things that they have to do, and, we all have different sorts of goals, but there's one thing about World of Warcraft that I do find to be tired, maybe boring or unfulfilling, and I've talked this thought up before, and I'm going to continue to do it until I get what I want. But when it comes to the World of Warcraft formula, what you see here on screen, this here is old. Like, what I'm showing you here on screen is my character's transmog, which is collected from tons of different activities. I have a mount that's earned from completing this, pretty difficult solo achievement. There's a title that I don't know what title I'm going to choose, something fitting. There's a pet that I have that I got from donating efforts to support Ukraine. And this is the endpoint here. What you see is the endpoint of the current WoW formula of rewards, and it hasn't had significant changes in years. It's like saying we can only have so many different kinds of clothes or shoes or drapes on the wall. In the end, it's all the same and only looks a little bit different. Of course, I'm not trying to speak for anyone really, but I'd bet the people who are bored of WoW, they might not realize it, but in a way, they might be tired of just working towards the same old stuff, even if the stuff looks way cooler than it did 20 years ago, even though there might be more different ways to go about earning these rewards. Some have said with so many mounts in the game, it feels like the idea of getting a new mount as a reward feels diminished. It's just another drop in the bucket. But I don't think the solve is, oh, well, we need super awesome quality mounts that aren't sold in the in-game shop anymore. In my opinion, I don't think that's going to change anything. It's still just going to be another mount. I think we need new things to work for that aren't just, what we wear or right outdoors. And we got a small taste of that with mount customization. That it's still a mount, yeah, but the idea of creating a unique combination that's yours, that hit just a little bit different. And I think that's what helped it take off pretty well during Dragonflight. What got folks really excited in a way I haven't seen in a long time was with the War Within announcement and warbands, and specifically the warband camp screen. Some of the first commenters were saying, and what crossed my mind too was like, dude, I want to change the background. Could we change it to different locations? Or I want more characters in there, maybe change their orientations and poses. Like people were juiced. And in my observation, a lot of it's because it's a new thing. It's not new as in like Torghast or Warfront. It's not that kind of new. It's not a revamped upgrade system sort of new, but it's a new thing to work towards. It's a different endpoint in this World of Warcraft formula. I suspect that among the people who want archaeology to come back someday, I have a feeling that some of that sentiment comes from the game acknowledging their findings and showing them in the world, because it's just different from what we normally get. The garrison is a complicated subject, but for the sake of argument, I'm pointing it out as another example of regular activities going towards irregular things that WoW players aren't used to enjoying. Anecdotally, I've swapped out buildings and moved them around and spent all them resources because maybe I didn't like the orientation, or I just wanted the garrison to feel a little bit more lively with the tavern as opposed to something else I don't remember. Player housing is hard to fully express, and there's all sorts of conversations and arguments for and against it, but I just want to deliver on the idea of, adding to the WoW formula. Again, never mind the details, we'll get lost in that, but focus on this idea of, at the end of the day, being able to express our accomplishments in game in this new and different way. We're still killing dragons and joining battlegrounds and fighting to get into keys and raids, but now there's this new well to fill, of course if it's something we're interested in doing. That might be the pie-in-the-sky fantasy, but it really might not be long until we can start getting a feeling similar to this with the warband screen customization that's, who knows, it might come in 11.1. It might be kind of funny seeing forum posts and angry comments like, grr, cities are going to be empty because people are stuck on the character select screen like it's a, like they're playing a WoW diorama. But what if we had something a little bit different? What if the different faction embassies in Dornogal had this very robust customization system to show off that good old faction pride? Do you think that would take off instead? Or what if someday we could work towards unlocking different animations for ability casts, maybe even running animations or swimming or death animations? How about different emotes, customized emotes or voice selections? And really there's so much more if we look beyond this current canvas. In short, I'm a pretty happy WoW player. I have my gripes here and there, but I'm good. But I've made it my mission to keep people talking about going further with what WoW can offer. Not just what to do, but what to work towards. And now the floor is yours to share your thoughts on how WoW is doing. Are you excited for next week's anniversary patch or what's next for World of Warcraft? That's going to be the show, and as always, I got to give thanks to you folks who make the channel happen. From our viewers on Twitch and YouTube Live to our patrons and their generosity, and of course to you who made it to the end. Thank you very, very much for watching or, okay, listening. Please like the video, subscribe for more WoW coverage, catch me live, and I'll see you next week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.